Okay. So this use effect, now we will see here. Okay. So this use effect is why we have to use this whenever we want to call any side effects. Okay. Side effects means like apart from updating the data in the UI, the remaining things we will call it as a side effect. Suppose I want to do some calculations or I want to load some data from the backend, and such activities we will call it as a side effects. Okay. And we want to update some data after some time, something like this. Those things we'll call it as a side effects. Those side effects we will call inside the use effect life. Okay. So let us see what is this use effect. And here we'll see the variations. Okay. Suppose here what is happening is if you see our component, so whenever we are reloading our component, okay, and every time whenever I'm clicking here, let us see why we have to use the use effect. Now we want to load some data from the some API. Suppose there are our demo APIs are there, right? You can open our demo API or any free APIs also is there. There is a one website called JSON placeholder typecode.com. Here you will get the free URLs. Okay. So such URL is I'm copying one URL. There is a to dos. Okay, I'll click enter. So you see all the URLs are there. So whenever we want to do any interview task, we can take this website because it's free. Okay, I'm going to do. Now, what is the task is, I want to load this data. Whenever I'm loading my component, I want to load this data. Okay, and will not display all the data. We'll just load it and we'll print it to the console. That is the task I want to do it. Okay, so let us try to do here. Okay, and something like here, if you see here in the to dos, there is an ID in the last. If you are giving ID 1, it will load the ID 1 data. If you are giving 2, it will load the ID 2 data. Let us see what is that also. I'll copy here and enter. It is returning only one user data. Suppose I will give 2. It will return the second user data. Like this, it will introduce. If you are not giving any this ID, it is going to return all the users. That is the difference between first and last. Okay. So now what is the second task we want to do? We want to load all the data and we want to show it. This is our task because any component will have some loading the data, right? So for this reason, what is the hook we are going for? Use effect. Okay. So let's go for use effect, and whatever the data we are getting, I want to store into my state variable. Okay. So let us try to do this. So first I want to load one data, right? Let's go for constant. I will say data, comma, set data, and this is an array. It will return a array. So that is the reason I will write a array. Okay. This is okay. And second thing, now I want to execute my task, right? So first, before going use effect, let us write our call directly. Later we'll do it. Okay. So how to load any data? Function load API data or something. Okay. So let us go for something. Okay. So here I'm writing a fetch code. Either we can use a access code or we can use a fetch code. Anything is fine. This fetch is by default available in the JavaScript. And once we are doing the fetch, and the second we have to call the JSON. Okay. And once we are going to, then we need to call the, like one, I'm getting the response. This response I am storing into my which variable? Set data. Okay. So let us try to, I will save here and reload the data. If I am going to reload the data, whether it will load the data or not, it will not load the data because we have written a function, but we are not calling from anywhere. If you are not calling from anywhere, whether you will get data or not, you will not get data. We will not get the data. Okay. So that is the reason what I will do. I will go here and I will call a load API data. Okay. Clear? So there is a blunder mistake is here, and let us see what is going to happen. Okay. See here. And here we have written a one console here. Okay. So file, save all, and let's see in the console. See what is happening. Demo render. It is still going. So let's go to network calls. Okay. There is a network call. See what is happening. Let me zoom it. Okay. It is still going. It is a 4,000 times, 5,000 times. Okay. So here automatically the request is going, okay, going. How many times it is going? 6,000, 7,000. It will never stop. Okay. So if I want to stop, I have to close my browser only. There is no other way at all. Okay, let us understand the problem here and we will see the fix. So what is happening here is, whenever you are adding any data to your state, what will happen first time what will happen? Okay, yeah, like first this code will be executed, there is no problem. Okay, and after that this demo line also will be executed, there is no problem. In the bottom you are calling one API. What is API method? You are calling the API. In the API you are writing like a set data we are writing, right? So as part of the React, if any change in the use state variable, any state in the use state variable, what will happen again? It will execute from again top and bottom, correct, right? So whenever it is coming second time, again this method will be called. Okay, whenever this is again called, again we are changing the state. Again it will execute from the top to bottom. Again, this is no ending process. Okay, in interview they will write like this and they will ask what is the problem here. Whether you are going to get an error or it will be unlimited loop. What is the answer? You are not going to get any error. It is an unlimited loop. It will never end, because whenever there is a change, and automatically it will re-render. As part of the re-render, again we are loading the data. Okay, so this is the problem. So that is the reason we should not call directly like this. Okay, to stop this one only, we have to go for a hook. What is that hook? We have to go for use effect. Let us go for a use effect. Okay, so let us use a use effect. Okay, so there is a use effect snippet is there. You can, this is a shortcut, sir. You can simply click here, automatically it will add the syntax. Okay, for the syntax you can add the a library, like there is a React library will be there. Okay, extension for React, there is a library will be there. Suppose, yeah, React native, this is a React something, there will be React snippets ma. Here it is the writer, whatever, React Redux native something. These are the simple snippets where you can install here. And these are the tools. What they will do is automatically this type of commands it will come. Here I am typing, right? So whenever I am typing use effect, it is asking like a snippet. The snippet automatically will come. It will fill entire your syntax. You need to change the data. So that is okay. So let us write our own. Instead of writing using snippet, let us use. So use effect. Okay, so I have imported this use effect. Mainly will take a two arguments. Okay, first one is a ES6 function, second is a dependencies. Okay, second is a optional one, second is a optional one. So for now what I'm going to do, I will forget about my second argument. I will write only about the use effect. So the first one, what it will take a ES6 function. I will say yes, ES6 are normal function, any function. Okay, open bracket and a close bracket. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I am going to call the API from here. Okay, and here what is the mistake? What is the mistake I am doing here? Okay, let's see what will happen. Okay, so here I'm calling the use effect. Inside the use effect, we are calling the console.log, console.log, and here we are doing the load API. Okay, so I'm going to save it here, and let us see. Okay, so I'm going to open again localhost dot for 3000. Okay, so whenever you are going to do this again, we are going to have the same problem. Okay, let us go to our console again. See in the console, it is printing, printing. See, demo render is effect, demo render is effect, demo render is effect. Okay, so still we are using the use effect, right? Then why is the problem? Okay, the problem is whenever you are not writing the second argument, okay, it will work like a update. For every time it will execute. Whenever you are not writing this second argument, what will happen? Every time it will execute. Okay, this is equal to error. There is no benefit at all. Okay, so if you want to execute any code in the use effect always, then don't write the second argument. That is a use case. Okay, and the second use case is I want to pass a empty array. This empty array is nothing but a, this empty array is nothing but a dependencies. This empty array is nothing but dependencies. Here we need to say like, I'll reload the page. Okay. So now what will happen is, now you see, go and see the network calls. Okay. So here only one call is there. Okay. Suppose earlier it is keep on going, right? Now we have reduced that one to the, here one is optional. some we have reduced this calls. Okay. Now whenever you are adding this empty array, it will execute only one time on render. It will execute only first render. So this is equal to, we have a class based component, right? Inside the class based component, so we have constructor, get state, and there is a one method called component did mount raiser, right? So that component did mount will be executed only one time. Suppose you want to execute any code only one time, you can write like this. Use effect, inside the use effect, you can write empty array and you can do like this. Okay. So this will execute only one time and it will not cause the re-render process. Correct, right? Okay. But sometimes what we want to do is, I want to execute the code. Okay. I want to execute the code based on some other variable. Whenever that variable is changes, I want to still reload the data. Okay. For example, what I want to do here, I'm having the count is there, right? I will copy the count. Here my variable, I will add a slash. After the slash, I will add a this variable count. This means if I go to my API here, to do slash one, I'm getting one data. 2 slash 2, I'll get another data. Something like we are getting the data, right? Now, whenever I want to increment my button, I want to send one API request to the backend. Okay. So to see this one, let's go to our increment here. Now I am adding a plus count. Okay. But now I want my use effect want to dependent on count variable. That is the reason I will copy the count and I will add as the argument. Okay. This meaning is, whenever there is any change in the count variable, you execute this function. Okay. If there is no change, then don't execute it. First time it will execute one time. After that, whenever there is a change, it will execute. Okay. So let us see here, file, save all, and reload the page again. Okay. Okay. Let's clear it, increment. See, whenever I'm incrementing, so this is the task they have given one interview. Okay. Whenever I am clicking an interview, like whenever I'm clicking this button, they want to execute a one by one, this like this. Suppose see here, this is already we are executing. So to do slash 11. Let us click on one more, 12, one more, 13. So still API calls are going right. And you can display the data here also. There is no problem. Okay. So whenever based on, this is a simple example only. When based on any variable, you want to perform any logic, not only backend task, you want any calculation or anything, then you can write inside the where you can write inside here, and such variable you can add it to here. Suppose you want to pagination is there. Pagination is will depend on two variables. What are the two variables? Page number and the page count. Like how many limit is there, and second is what is the current page number. You can add those two arguments here, page comma and limit both. Any variable is changes in this list, automatically it will reload the data, something like this. Okay. So let's go here. Suppose if I want to see the page, let's go for our employee here. Okay. Suppose here, let me open use effect. Use effect. So here we are writing page number, right? So this code will be executed whenever page number is changes. Okay. Suppose, but whenever by default limit is 10, I want to change 10 to 20. Then you can write another state variable, and that state variable also you can pass it here. If any state variable changes, automatically this method will be executed. This is nothing about the like user effect. Now there is one important point is there. They will ask, how can you, like in the React component based, we have life cycles, right? Init phase is there, like mounting phase is there, updating phase is there, and unmounting is there. In class based, in function based, we don't have those many phases, right? How will you solve that problem here? Simple. Okay. Whenever you want to do any initialization, only execute one time, then you write your use effect like this. Okay. With empty array, this will be equal to our initialization phase. Okay, this is okay. And whenever I want to execute every time, then you write without any second argument. This is like a updating phase. Every time it will execute. And third is there, right? What is the third? Whenever I am going for other route, I want to destroy my page. I want to remove something like this. Then where you will write such code? Okay. So unmount is there, right? For that unmount, where you are going to write that code in the functional based component. Okay. So let us go to our demo component, and there is a one. First, I will show the problem. then I'll show the solution. Okay. Do you know that set interval? If you are writing set interval, how many times it will execute? Only one time or multiple times? Multiple times. Correct, right? So now what I want to do, I want to call the set interval. Okay. And each for 2 seconds, I want to call it. For every 2 seconds, I want to print it. Okay. So let us try to see. So inside the use effect, what I'm going to do, here I'm going to write one line. Okay. So just write one line, set interval. Okay. Open bracket. And I'll let console.log and we'll close the. Okay. So here I am writing one set interval and let's forget about this one. So this set interval should call only for every 2 seconds. So that is the reason I am writing a 2000 seconds here. Okay. So first let us see, understand the problem. So I'll save it here. Okay. And let me reload it here. And if you go to the console, for every 2 seconds, see here, there is a set interval 4 times called, 5 times called, 6 times called. Okay, something like this. Suppose in this set interval, you are loading some data from the backend. Okay, so sometimes what we will do, we want to reload. I will open one website and I will show you. Suppose I am opening this website. Okay, so here this is one scroll bar is going right. This is a stock data. For every 5 seconds, I want to, this data will be changes. Okay, I want to load the new data for every 5 seconds. Then where I can write such code? I can write such code inside the set interval, right? Suppose I am writing that code here. Okay, and that page I am using only in the demo. I am not using in any other place. Think like this. Okay, now let us see the problem. Suppose I will go to my component. Yeah, now it is called 28 times. Now I will navigate to some login page. Whenever I go to login page, I don't want that loading the data itself. Okay, but if you see in the bottom, see the bottom, set interval 2 times. I am not in that component at all. We are moving to another component, and whatever the component I have written the logic, that component I am not using at all. Suppose you are writing API call, what will happen? Even though you are not using it, still API will be called. There is a problem or not? This is called memory leaks. Okay, and we should solve this problem using the component will unmount. There is a life cycle is there, right? But that life cycle I cannot use it here in the function based component. Okay, to solve this problem we have to write a, so this is a use effect I am writing, right? Inside the use effect we need to return one function. Okay, inside the use effect we need to return a one function. You can write a normal function or ASX function, any function you can write it. Okay, so inside the use effect what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to return a function. Okay, so this is like a use of cleanup. So inside here this is like a, this is equal to our component will unmount. Okay, this is equal to what function? A component will unmount. Okay, so now if you want to clear any interval, what is the method I should use it? Clear interval. So first I should store into one variable constant. Okay, interval obj. Okay, so I will store in one obj. Now I need to clear it. So go to inside this function and you will say clear interval and you pass this object. Okay, now we'll see the difference. File, save all and reload it. Okay, let me clear it and, go to demo. So here there is a interval. So interval it will go. Okay, so there is an interval program. It is keep on printing interval. Let us go to login page. Okay, if I am not saving it all, file, save all, and reload the page. Okay, let me go to demo. Okay. So 2 times. Okay, let us go to login page. And whenever you are navigating to other page, here what is happening? You are cleaning the your use effect. After the cleaning, what is happening? Is set interval is calling or not calling? Not calling. Okay. So to avoid any memory leaks, we have to use a this is internally written function. Okay, so this is an interview question. How you are going to solve the life cycle method inside the function component? The only answer for all this one is a use effect only. So if you are sending use effect with empty array, this is a init component, like will, like a component did mount. And if you are passing without argument, this is nothing but a update for every time it will execute. Suppose if you are returning any function from inside, if you are returning any function, okay, something, if you are returning any function, that is nothing about the component will unmount. So three things are covered. Okay, so this is most important. Without this use effect, you will not write any React project itself. Okay, that much important. Okay, and passing the arguments also very important. Which variable you are using inside, such variable you should pass as a dependency. Okay, so we'll go for a next concept.